Since physical reality is a reflection of our vibration, what is something most humans misunderstand about how this mirroring effect actually works? And if we are unaware of the specific beliefs creating an undesired reflection, what is the most effective way to uncover and shift them?
Well, if you have what you are perceiving as an undesired reflection, of course, depending on whether you're negatively judging the reflection or whether it's something truly out of alignment with who you are, of course, is the first question you ask yourself. The idea, again, is self-investigation. If it is truly not your preference and feels uncompatible and undesired, again, you would have to ask, by understanding how things work, what are you getting out of having this reflection? What are you learning from this reflection? How can it help you move in a different direction? So you still have to know it's there for a reason, as we have said. There are no accidents. So if it's there for a reason. What is it trying to show you? What are you learning from it? What are you holding on to that you think you need that maybe you don't need? So again, it requires deep self-investigation to find out why you would hold on to something you don't prefer, because you will always do so because you believe it benefits you. You have to understand the motivational mechanism and how it works. But that will be the beginning of the dialogue, the internal dialogue, that will help you understand why you're getting the reflection that you're getting, or perhaps why you're judging the reflection negatively that you're getting instead of using it to your advantage, since there is always a reason why everything is there.
Okay. And if physical reality is an illusion reflecting our beliefs, what belief structures create life-threatening allergic reactions, and how can one deprogram that matrix without dying in the process?
Of course, again, there may be many different reasons, as there are different people, for having allergic reactions to things. One of the most general reflections is self-rejection, and therefore that being represented by the idea of the nature that surrounds you or you find yourself in. So it has to be something that perhaps for most people needs an investigation into what parts of yourself are you rejecting. Have you learned to reject? Have you learned to judge negatively so that you don't, quote unquote, belong, so that you don't fit in, and therefore are rejected allergically by nature? Now, it can be something different as well. But again, for most people, it has to do with issues of self-rejection.
Okay, thank you. How should this person handle a behavioral secret that they have kept from their family due to differing beliefs? They have no negative feelings about their choice and they don't intend to change them, but also know that sharing would cause their parents and their family heartbreak.
Pay attention to what we have already said and described about the idea of consequential secrets. The idea is not necessarily to reveal something, but to simply stop the behavior if it is something that, if revealed, would have detrimental effects on others, not because of their belief system according to your belief system, but because you know it would actually break a trust or confidence or have detrimental effects from something that you have established. So what we are saying is it's not about the revealing of certain secrets that are simply representative of your personal preference that are correct for you. You don't have to reveal anything that is your personal preference that's correct for how you wish to be as a person, if you know that it might be something that will upset others. Because then the idea is that this is simply in the domain of others to not necessarily choose to be upset by the choices you're making to be your true self, if that's what's happening. So we're not talking about the revealing of personal preferences that someone else might find upsetting. We are simply talking about the idea that if you're holding on to a secret that represents a behavior that you know, if revealed, would be the idea of dismantling the trust that exists between you because of what you have established with them, having to do with the circumstance and situation that you may be going against, It's about just stopping the behavior so that you don't have the secret anymore. So that if someone asks you, is this happening? Are you doing this? You can honestly say no.
And this person is saying that if everything is synchronistic and they attract the perfect lessons that they need to learn, does it make sense to, for example, wear a helmet on a motorcycle or have insurance? If they're positive, and then every experience, every disease, every injury is welcomed as a beautiful opportunity for growth. Do you still protect yourself? And is there even anything like protection, as I cannot protect myself from my own reflection anyway?
This is a person who is not getting the point that is existing even within their own question. Of course, you protect yourself. The idea of asking, do I need to protect myself by wearing a helmet if I ride a motorcycle, is the result of a lesson you have learned. So the idea is not to avoid those obvious things that can protect you. Stay grounded in this, stay balanced in this, and understand that the whole idea, perhaps in your society, of wearing a helmet or having insurance are the results of learning lessons to protect yourself. It's not about trying to avoid the obvious. It's not about trying to be so spiritual that I don't need to do these things. It's about understanding how things work in your reality and learning the lesson. Of course, wearing a helmet will protect you because that is the lesson you learn if you fall down and injure your head without a helmet. So the things that you're talking about avoiding are actually the lessons you need to learn in a typical physical reality.
That's really a great understanding.
Yes.
Um,
Don't be so spiritual that you forget that following the lessons of physical reality is just as spiritual as anything.
Now, this questioner is saying that her boyfriend completely refuses to believe anything that has to do with souls, UFOs, ETs. Did he and other people who think like him choose the experience of being closed-minded about these topics before incarnating on Earth? And if not, is there a way to help them wake up?
There may not be. Yes, it is a situational choice of the spirit to know that they are going into a reality where things like spirit, UFOs, ETs, the expansion of consciousness are going to become part and parcel of the expansion of humanity in this particular time frame, in this day and age. Therefore, going into the idea that they have fear about these things and refuse to acknowledge that they could be possibilities is part of their particular choices and lessons that they have chosen to learn. They may not learn it. It may be their life path to not open up to these things, but that's all right. Again, it may simply be an opportunity for them to realize that these things do exist. They're simply afraid of changing their entire worldview paradigm at this particular point because they have a belief system that says they cannot handle it or that everything would come crashing down. There's really no way to allow them to wake up to the fact that these things exist other than gentle conversation, gentle exploration, if they're willing to be exposed to it. But again, it's not necessarily your job to convince them of these things because you don't know their life path. Their life path may be to deny these things until a certain point where they will wake themselves up by putting themselves in a circumstance that is undeniable. But we'll see if that's what they have chosen. There's no way to assume that that's what they have chosen.